The Chicago Bears lose a heartbreaking thriller to the Washington Commanders on primetime. Look, this ain't the first time we've been here. We talked about it, Devin. Wait, first of all, look, I'm getting ahead of myself. Welcome to the Black Bear Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Ride with my co-host Devin. And
You're just trying to get out of here as quick as possible.
you can kind of tell by my enthusiasm right now. This is a heartbreaker, but look, we here. And we're not gonna tuck our tail. We're gonna show up and we're gonna break down the tough ones and we're gonna break down the good the great ones that we've been having. All that and a lot more right after this. So the Chicago Bears, like I said in the cold open, you just lost a heartbreak. And if you're on Twitter or Facebook or any social media, you see it. The Bears fans are feeling this one. I had a lot in my notes to come in here and say after a win. I thought we won this game. Thought it was in the bag, and it was just 2 seconds left before we come in here and break this down. But after losing like that, like I was prepared to talk shit about Caleb and talk shit about the coaching staff, but after that loss, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I got a weird feeling. It don't feel right, you know, coming at them after losing in that fashion. And maybe because it's my own emotions playing a role in it, but
It's a little hard to kind of let that negativity in right now when there's already plenty there.
it's plenty there. And because I don't got to say it, we don't got to say it. Like you said, we both said in the green room, our phones is blowing up right after that loss. You know what I mean?
I
I'm
had
here in
friends from all
Wisconsin.
over the country asking me because with them flexing that game and a lot more people saw it. So
Exactly. Exactly.
friend out in San Francisco, friend out in Northern California, friend over in Germany even he was
Yeah.
telling messaging me saying that was a rough one. And it see, I was online, I was looking at some things, and people are saying
Hmm.
that they haven't felt this way since, for some people it's the double doink, for other
Oh,
people
double dunk.
it's the losing to the Packers in the final game of the season or whatever, and then they end up going
Mhm.
on to the
Win the Super Bowl.
NFC Championship,
Or not, yeah,
and-
the
or
championship, not the Super Bowl.
they get into the playoffs because of it, and then they go to the championship, and it's just
Yep.
like having that. I mean, this is just. I mean, we've lost games before, like
Yep.
we're now 4-3, but like losing that, it just losing like this just kind of hits harder. Like
Definitely a tough one.
losing to the Texans when I kind of already had that in as us losing to them.
Hmm.
It's like
When
this,
we did the off season schedule
yeah.
prediction,
Like
right? Yeah.
when I saw that, like I'm like, okay, the Texans are a very good team. Like
Hmm.
I kind of expected to lose to them, and we didn't lose as bad as I thought we would in that game. But this game, it's been rough, just because for me, it's rougher even more because of the fact that we lost on the defensive end. Like, yeah,
And
the defense kept us in the game, but then
yep.
at the very end of the game, when the defense is what we needed to rely on, and as Bears fans, we already rely on our defense because we know that that's where all of our like star players really are, like
That's
our
where the
best
that's the
players.
heart and soul of this team. You know what I mean? That
not
that is
not
the
to say that
unit,
we don't have any good offensive players, but like
right?
today was rough offensively, and so we kind of were leaning on our defense, and they came up big for us and held them to field goals so many times or forced punts. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think that this is the most punts that the Commanders have done this season because they've
Yep,
been
by
such a
far.
high scoring offense in the fact that
Hmm.
like they just march their way down the field, and even if they aren't close enough for a touchdown, they can get a field goal. And we held them to low points. Normally they're up there in the 30s most of their games.
Yep.
We held them to what was the final score? 19.
15 to 18, 18, 15.
Oh, because they didn't kick the extra point because there's no point.
Mm-mm.
So
The clock was
I kind
over.
of kind
Yeah.
of turned off or tuned out whatever else was going on.
You
Like,
and me both.
but see,
You and
I'm
me
guessing
both.
if they did need the extra point to win, they would have gone out there and kicked it, right?
They kick it. Yep, they kick
Yeah.
it for sure.
But just it was a tough watch.
If you just tuning in, this is the Black Bear Podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, the Black Bear Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Rob, with my co-host Devin. And we are in our first segment, initial thoughts. We just give our initial thoughts of the game before getting too deep into the weeds of what happened and what was called and who did what. This
My initial thought is sad.
this is a heartbreaker, man. This oh my gosh. Look, okay.
And see,
I
I was already with that with a minute left in the game or less
mhm.
than a minute left in the game. I was all ready to come in here like
Oh my
all
gosh.
hyped up for getting a win in a way that we like because to me it's like if we had gotten that win in that way, marching down the field in the fourth quarter, because like we can complain all we want about quarters 1 through 3, but everybody and all of sports knows it's all about how you do in that fourth quarter. If you
Fourth
can
quarter.
win like that fourth quarter is all that really matters. Like if you don't watch anything except for one quarter of a game, you should watch the last quarter of a game. So you know how it ends, you know what happens and stuff like that.
So
And I'm
my
just
like you just said, what tuning in the fourth quarter. My lady, she tuned in the fourth quarter. She didn't watch the whole first, but she tuned in the fourth quarter. And for the Bears, that was the first touchdown she saw. It came in the fourth quarter. Um, the
that
second one
run
came in.
by Swift was just crazy. And he got hit like way back there near the line of
Mm-hmm.
scrimmage when
Mm-hmm.
he first got touched. And he just kept on evading until he found his lane, and then he just took off. Not to say that Swift is like um unable to make mistakes, because there were definitely times when he kind of cut inward, and I said to myself, if he had cut to the left, there was a wide open like hole that he could run through, and he cut to the
Right.
right and got tackled
Mm-hmm.
for a gain of only like 2. But I definitely feel like this game was kind of like he's been really doing well the past few weeks. And this game was him doing really well with pretty much his only production coming on the ground.
He carried the
Like
offense this week.
he didn't get a pass today, and he still produced for us.
He put the offense on his back. The total yards offense we had, I don't know, it wasn't too much, but he probably had half of them, if not close to it, all by himself on the ground. Like you said, he didn't get any catches. It was all on the ground for him. And look, this we didn't deserve to win this game. We almost snuck out with this win. You know, like I was telling you in the green room, we didn't deserve this game, but we almost snuck out with a win, and it would have felt good because we would have been 5-2, right along with everybody else in our division, damn near. We lost this game, and we probably should have. You know, if you want to look at it the other way, and kind of let that pains, I don't know, alleviate some of the pain, because we shouldn't have won that game. Even if we did win, we didn't deserve it. So, um, look, that's what happens when you play football like that. That's exactly what happens when your coaching is poor. It hasn't been poor every game, but for this game, there's a lot of things. I'm looking at my notes right now. There's a lot of things I could point out with poor coaching from this game, from Eberflus and Shane Waldron.
Oh yeah, there is one where even my like I was watching the game with my parents, and
Mm-hmm.
there was a pass over the middle that Jaden Daniels threw, and it moved them up. And like I said, I don't know if there would be enough to overturn it. My dad said that he thought that it looked like from the replays that we saw, that which was only
Right.
two of them, but they hurried up to hike the ball and get another playoff.
That
And
was.
in that instance, it's the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Throw the throw the challenge flag.
Yep.
We didn't use any of our timeouts that we ended up having. Now, granted, we might have wanted it, we might have needed one, kind of the way
Right.
the Commanders would have needed one because they used up two early in the third and then late in the third. But the way that I was looking at, like we didn't challenge anything yet all game, so go ahead, challenge that play. Then that would have put them at 4th and 7, back in their own end zone, pretty much.
That was one that I put in my notes that he definitely should have challenged because it was like he kept throwing passes like that all game long. You know what I mean? Those
And
short, those
they were
low.
low. They were all low to the ground, and it did seem like the ball went through his hands
Mm-hmm.
and then hit the ground, and he kind of used the ground to kind of help him kind of catch it in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
appreciate you in the chat, Elijah. He said definitely hurt ourselves with them penalties, and we were just talking about that. We can get to the penalties, uh, in a bit, but there was 8 for 60 yards, too many, and they were pre-snap and post-snap penalties. You know what I
Like
mean? There wasn't
the extra stuff.
the extra stuff outside of the whistle. You know what I mean? Beating ourselves.
I think there was
Um,
one. There was one. Oh my god, we were 3rd and 2.
mhm.
Okay, we were struggling getting through that like third down conversions and stuff like that. But 3rd and 2, we might have had a chance, and then illegal formation or something pushed us back 5 yards. Okay,
Mhm.
three and
Yep.
seven. Okay, a little bit harder, but it's doable. And then before we even snap the ball, false start
Yep.
pushes us
I
back
remember
another
exactly the
5 yards.
sequence you're talking about.
3rd and 12. Well, when you're facing 3rd and 12, you have to go for the 12 yards because and those things were happening, and they have been happening all season early on in the games. But
Right.
this game, it just seemed to just kind of linger even longer and later into the game. I don't know. It was
So
definitely a struggle.
I went ahead and I started the way the game was going. Like I said, we thought we had the game won until 2 seconds left. We had it won when there was 2 seconds left, and then 2 seconds happened and we lost the game. I had some key moments in this game that I felt like was noteworthy to, take some notes on it and talk about. One of the moments was um I think it was the 3rd and 12 you just talked about, which I think we took a sack on that. The 3rd and 12. We took a
That's not
sack
the one
on it.
that I was thinking of, but that third and whatever that we took like a huge sack and it became 4th and 27.
Yeah, you remember that? So that
That
was a
was
key play.
sadly that was a different 3rd and 12. It it's unfortunate that we had multiple 3rd and 12 situations, but yeah, that one was really rough.
And random call. Look, Commanders did outplay us for sure. We said it about what 5 minutes ago that we if we did win this game, we didn't deserve to win that game. We was gonna sneak out off the field with a W that we probably didn't deserve. The defense definitely deserved it though, and they're a part of this team. You know what I mean? It's not just the offense. The offense didn't deserve it, but guess what? They do have a defense that almost showed why. And I kept saying this throughout the game, Devin, especially in that fourth quarter. I kept saying this defense show why you're not a top 5 defense. You're not a top 10 defense. You are the best defense in the league. You are the number 1 defense for a reason. If we won that game, the defense that would have been solely on the defense. Yes, the offense scored those late 2 touchdowns, but they don't get those touchdowns. They don't get even close without that defense. But it sucks that the defense is the reason we lost that game in 2 seconds. Not the only reason, but that was the primary reason. Thesby said, knock the damn ball down with your fists. Stupid defensive play. Um, Mark Cook said Flus or Flop or whatever should be gone Monday morning, and the offensive coordinator should be gone with them. It's pathetic. It was embarrassing. What the offense showed based off what we seen from the previous 3 games. And let's be honest, the Commanders' defense aren't world beaters. You know what I mean? They shouldn't have been able to shut us down like they did in the passing game, but they did it. And I agree. Flus had a horrible day. He had a horrible day. The Shane Waldron had a horrible day. Caleb
I
Williams
mean,
had a
there were
horrible day.
definitely bright spots in the play calling as far as the offense, but it's hard for me to know what about that um was Caleb changing something, or was like, because like they had that rush with Adunze. Adunze had that rush,
Mm-hmm.
and there was another one with DJ that kind of like slipped through in the middle, and we got
Sliced
some
him up the
good
middle. Yep.
yardage and stuff like that sometimes. But so like kind of mixing those types of things in when we were having trouble early on with the run, but like it just like kind of getting some of those trick plays in was interesting and good, but we weren't able to consistently move the ball. And there wasn't very many pass plays that I was seeing early on. There were a couple, but something was definitely just off on the team
So
for some of those pass plays that were like just where they were supposed to be and hitting their receivers in the hands that I didn't like. But then there were the people that like then there was the passes that were overthrown, and then it was just bad all around, and I just couldn't really find anything that I liked.
we got more and more people jumping in the chat. Look, stick with us. We got coaches. We're gonna listen to Caleb Williams speak at the podium. We'll listen to head coach Matt Eberflus speak at the podium. Hit that like button if you're watching on Facebook. If you watching on YouTube, hit that like button, and as well subscribe to the channel, the Black Bear Podcast on YouTube. Subscribe and like to help us grow the channel. We love the Bears just like y'all. We just come in here every week, catch us Saturdays and Sundays. Every week talking about this Bears team that we love. Flus and when I'm seeing in the comment section, Flus and Shane Waldron are they taking some heat right now. J2K, my man in the chat, he said, "Man, what a game! Horrible to great, and right back to horrible." I'm interested to know. I I want everybody to stick to because we're gonna play the blame game. I'm interested to know what people think. Like, who is the number one blame for this? But just hold it. We gonna get there. We still on initial thoughts right now. I'm gonna tease that. But another key moment, because I was talking about key moments, was the challenge that we talked about. That the Washington
Or that
Commanders
we
hurried
didn't
up.
do.
That he didn't do. The challenge that he did not do. Um It was incomplete. It was incomplete. I think it was late in the fourth quarter, right? Or it was early in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
We could have got the ball back right there. That was a third down. I don't know if that ended in a field goal or not. I think we might have
I
got the
think
stop
they ended up punting, but
anyway.
like we ended up getting by the punt, we ended up getting the ball even further back. But I think that was when we marched down and scored the touchdown. So it's like at the end of the day,
I'm just laughing at this
I
comment.
just I just get like it's hard to be like really upset when all it meant was we had to go another 20 yards, which we did anyways. But
So J2K, I just want to ask you this because he said J2K said I'm not sure how anyone can blame Flus. His defense gave up 12 points minus the Hail Mary, of course, to an explosive offense. Yes, this defense is what it is. You know what I mean? They were they're that's a great defense. That is a Super Bowl defense. I think we can all agree on that. You will win Super Bowls with that defense if your offense is at least competent. But don't you think that Flus knows that Waldron is calling a fullback dive to Doug Kramer at the 1 yard line. I think that was either first or second down. Dude, just give it to Roshan. We ran it 3 or 4 times this season, and it's worked. Give it to Roshan.
And even when
Let
it
Kramer
doesn't,
block.
it's like we try it again and it works after that.
Exactly. We got chances at it. I don't know. I just hate to. I understand Flus is calling the defense, but you are
Same
the head
kind
coach.
of the same way with that 4th and 1 that we pass it out to DJ Moore. Like I didn't understand that.
I think also on the touchdown. I think our second touchdown. The on first down, we did it to the left side. I think,
Well,
or we
see
tried to throw a
that was
fade. We tried to throw a
that
fade to DJ Moore.
to me. I thought that they were trying to they threw it up high so that they could waste a little bit more time off the clock or something. I don't know what entirely was involved in that situation, but I don't mind that
Mhm.
on first and goal on the 1 yard line.
I
Take a
agree. If
shot.
the only reason I hate it is because we were struggling. You know what I mean? It was late. We knew what we could do, and we knew what wasn't working. You know what I mean? So, and you want to keep being cute instead of just. I would have ran it 4 times in a row with Roshan Johnson on the 1 yard line, 4 times straight. If we don't get a touchdown, then that's us. That's on me. That's on the GM. We got to get a better offensive line in there. You know what I mean? I on the 1 yard line, we got the touchdown. We did get the touchdown, but come on now, the fade to DJ Moore when the passing game was struggling all game. Man, J2K said that isn't realistic. There's no time for a head coach to overrule an offensive coordinator. Chris Long had a great rant on that very subject. Yes, but I have heard Herm Edwards. Heard him on 670 to score. You can't put yourself in that situation. That can't happen. That just absolutely can't happen. And that's another interesting topic that when we talk about these play calls by the offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury, do we think he called a good game on the other side? Would you think the offensive coordinator for the Commanders, do you think he called a good game over there, Devin?
I feel like he did.
You like what he
Like
was doing with Daniels?
he was getting he was playing well, and I don't feel like there were a lot of passes that Daniels missed on, like passes that were in the ground, like those ones that were in the middle. And I never seemed to really get too worried about the game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, our defense stepped up and stopped them over and over again as far as being able to get into that end zone. But it just, I don't know. I guess you criticize the opposing offensive coordinator if he can't get into the end zone. Like, I guess you can't really call that as a good thing if you can't get into the end zone until the literal end of the game.
End of the game. And that's been brought up in the chat. Elijah said, I just wondering why we always struggle with our first 15 plays every week. And Komet should have been involved early in this game. He
I
said
agree
first
with that.
15, but we struggled with our first 30 plays. It wasn't just
No,
50.
I would say
First
15 because of the fact that it takes us like almost a quarter and a half to get 15 plays
to get
sometimes.
to get 15.
I
It's
mean,
like
he's
five
right with the
drives
first 15 because we got like 2 possessions in the first quarter, and each one of those were like maybe a total of 8 plays. Maybe, I'm not sure, maybe 12. But then it took us even longer. I mean, this game, granted, was worse because it took us a lot longer to figure out what we were going to do. Like our offense took a lot longer this time to actually come together. Like they didn't really do much until I'm saying late third quarter, maybe they
literally,
started that drive.
literally. J2K said I like the Quran pick because of the upside, but relying on him as the swing tackle, given he was so raw and injured, was a bad idea. I agree. And we talked about this briefly, Devin, and while we was watching the game, how Karan wasn't really ready for that moment. He wasn't really ready to step in at that. And he has probably the least amount of reps as out of anybody on that offensive line. He was not ready for that. Playing the most
No,
important
but
position.
I do feel like I, personally, like the way that things went, I do feel like he got better over the course of like the time he was playing. Like that touchdown by Swift does
Hmm.
not happen if Karan is not out there. He
Oh my
runs
gosh,
out
he was
there
working.
like he was 15 yards down, putting in another block so Swift can go behind him. And I'm over there like when I watched it live, I thought that was like a tight end or somebody throwing out a block. Then they showed the replay, and I just see Karan
The rook.
get the block on the line, and then just kind of like when that frees up, he just starts booking it downfield. And while Swift is kind of coming around, all of a sudden he's putting on another block, and then that frees Swift up straight to the end zone. And I'm like, okay, I got to give him props on the good things that he did, but the bad things that he did were also there as well.
Martin said, I always said you don't know who the real teams are until about week 8. So honestly, the Bears cannot beat the Packers, the Lions, Packers, and Vikings. I can see us splitting with this season. Does this loss, can you conclude that with this loss? What do you by seeing what we saw out there, do you think we play our division rivals that we just can't hang with them? Do you get that from this game?
Personally, against the Packers, I think we actually match up better right now because Jordan Love seems to be throwing picks quite a bit.
That's true.
Like, I mean, they beat the Jaguars today
Hmm.
with a last second field goal. And yes, Love went out. I think the third quarter he played like two plays, and then he came out because I walked away for a minute after I saw him in there. I walked away for a minute and came back, and Malik Willis was in at quarterback. But like if they do play Love against us,
Hmm.
he's going to be struggling and hurting all season. That like ankle injuries, like leg muscle injuries and stuff like that, they bother you and you struggle with that all year. So I'm thinking that we may match up better against the Packers. Now they do have a good run game.
Hmm. They have a damn good run game.
Their running back up there, their new running back that I am not happy about them getting.
They paid
He
them.
is,
Paid for it.
but he's doing really well. So we would need to do better in the run defense, which we haven't been. But now the Vikings, it's kind of really hard to figure out because theoretically, as long as you can stop or limit, not stop because you can't stop him, but as long as you can
Hmm.
limit Jefferson and Addison, their game isn't as explosive. Other than, but like they seem to have been doing well winning, so it's kind of hard to really criticize that you could take out two players and they wouldn't be able to win.
For the
I
Vikings.
Yeah, I think these division games are going to be fun to watch. I'm just hoping. I mean, I can see us splitting, but I could also see us maybe one of the teams we end up like getting two over. I don't think it's the Lions, if I'm being completely honest
The
with you.
Lions ain't that team. Let's
The Lions scored 50 something points today. Sure, it was against the Tennessee Titans with a backup quarterback, but they scored 50, I
they
think
put up a
54
lot of
points.
points today. They
And
definitely did.
Goff is getting scarier by the day. I know that you've said before you aren't as scared of him, but the way that he has been so like precise and his accuracy, his completion percentage, the Lions are a very scary team. And we face the Lions on Thanksgiving Day after only like a couple of days of rest after facing the Viking. Like it'll be a tough one.
So this is my thing, and then I want to jump into the Caleb Williams guy and just
Okay.
talk about the quarterback. But this is my thing with the Lions and people like this comment here from Martin saying Bears ain't ready for the Lions. The Bears are ready for the Lions. Did you see what that defense did? That defense is ready for any offense in this league. That defense is ready. Now, if you want to talk about Caleb Williams in the offensive line and the offense, if they're ready, I'm not so sure. They lost Aiden Hutchinson. So he's not there, but that is
God
true.
gets
That
24 hours to pass them off.
that's true.
That
That's true. We saw
that's a
that.
valid point.
We saw that with some there was sometimes Jaden Daniels had all goddamn day to throw the ball back there. But look, I trust this defense against any offense. Against any offense. And I think we all knew this though, Devin. We talked about this in the offseason. We knew that this defense, I mean, it's week 8. We didn't think that they would have to carry us this long or this far into the season, but it's
But see,
it's
I feel
happening.
like the defense wasn't like, I wouldn't say they were carrying us the last few games.
They didn't have
Like
to. No,
they
not
didn't
at
have,
all.
like, our offense was pretty explosive the past few games. So I don't know, maybe we gave them a break, and then when we came back this week, we needed them again, and it's like, okay, this is, hopefully this isn't something like we just always need our defense to carry us, because that'll get exhausting for them.
Uh, this is the best team we faced this so far this season. I mean, the Texans. I don't know
Other
what
than the
people.
Texans, I would
Yeah,
say
I'm gonna say I don't know what people think
Texans are a
about the
bit more
Texans.
complete of a team, but
I think their defense is better for sure, but look, I will take my defense against any quarterback in this division. And then the offense is a wild card. You don't know what you're gonna get from that side of the ball. You just don't. I can't. I can't say like they're gonna fail because we've seen them succeed, but we also seen them fail. So you just don't know what you're gonna get from this offense on a game in and game out basis. But we know for one thing we do know in Chicago is this defense is legit. It is legit. And if any other quarterback, any other offense had it, not any, but just the average offense had this defense backing them, they win a lot of games. They win a shit ton of games in this league. So that's just my thought on the whole. Are we ready for the Lions, Packers, and Vikings? That's just what I think. I think that defense is ready for any of them. Wild card offense, but we'll just have to see when we get to those games. Yeah, Martin said, I love our defense, bro. But be honest with yourself. Do you think our defense could hold the Lions for 4 quarters while our offense plays in their ass until they get going? I think our offense can hold any team for 4 quarters.
defense.
Or yeah, defense. Thank you. I think our defense can hold any offense for 4 quarters. Any. I don't.
Now,
The Lions. If
I think
let's
that our offense needs to step up and be able to give them a break,
right.
because of the fact that, like he says, they get tired. They can't You can't just, like, this, even this game, you could see that, like, sometimes we were rotating people out and stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
because we needed to give people breaks. Austin Booker was in there for a while because Sweat was hobbled up a little bit, but even if he wasn't, we might have had Booker in there, Darrell Taylor in there, just kind of giving people breaks. And I get that, but I mean, it's one of those things that, like, hopefully, and I'm being optimistic here. Hopefully, it just we can get to a point where our our offense can stay out there longer, and
Can
that
help
will help
us.
the defense in general. And I feel like put if we do too much for the defense and we have too much money invested in that area,
Right.
then I'm worried that you don't have any room to bring in for, like, offensive line. Like, you can't have a terrible offense with a good defense and expect to win very many games. Particularly because, in my opinion, the defense can't do it forever. They'll
Yes,
get
I
tired,
agree.
they'll get worn down, they'll get injured. Right now, Kyler's out, and I didn't even know that Kyler was out until like a day or two ago.
Mm-hmm. I
And
think that's
I
when
was
he got
just
ruled out.
and I was just sitting there like, Well, I expected Brisker to still be out, dealing with the concussion stuff, and I was kind of expecting some of that, but I don't know. It for me, it's just like there's too much unknown about our offense.
Yeah, that's why I say a wild card. Once we get into those division games, we don't know what the offense is going to do. They may have good matchups out there and put up some decent amount of points, but they also can shit the bed like we saw tonight, like we saw week 1 and all those other bad games. Daryl Gangsta Love got a question. He said, "Do you think we win with this offensive line?" We can win some games. We can win some games. We can definitely beat a bunch of teams. I mean, I don't know if you mean like win playoff games or Super Bowls with this
When
offense.
it
No, you're not.
when
You're
it
not.
if we like really like, I still think that like it depends on the team. Like
Hmm.
you even in the playoffs, like you're going up against a team, and
Hmm.
even like, just hypothetical here, I'm not saying anything or anything like that, but like,
Right.
say we get into the playoffs and we're facing a team that is substantially better than us, I still think that our defense gives us a bit of an edge to just kind of like stay in the game.
Exactly. I'm telling you, this
And
defense ain't letting. We're not getting blown out with this
but
defense.
but I will say, like, we can be shut out. Like, that very
Zero
well
to
could
10,
happen.
0 to 7. Yeah, that could happen. That could
Like,
that
the
could
game today was
definitely happen.
definitely looking like it was going to be 0 to 12, or like 0 to 15 or something, because we were looking like that's what the score was going to end up being. But the defense got even stronger in that second half and started not even letting them score. And then our offense picked up. And hopefully it doesn't take 3 quarters for our offense to pick up.
Oh
That's
my
just,
god,
that can't happen.
that gets you
But
beat. That gets you beat.
yeah, I don't know. I felt like our defense showed me today that like they can handle a lot of the high powered teams, like the high octane offenses that are out there. Don't get me wrong, I don't think we play this well against like the Chiefs, but the Chiefs kind of also have other things going for them.
We need to stop doing screens to DJ. He gets blown up every time we call that play. Yeah, the screen game is a little. The wide receiver
We
screen
I
game
think we
is
should probably just avoid screens for like anybody right now.
the running back screens work. They've been
Okay,
working in the
that, yeah,
past.
I was literally just about to correct myself and say that, like, the screen to Swift, but like the fake handoff and then the screen is fine. But
Mhm.
like having people already setting up out on the edge, everybody knows that you're running a screen. And I guess our wide receivers just don't have, I don't know, like they don't block very well.
Let's talk about because I see everybody. We watched the game. The defense was the bright spot, but I see a lot about the offense. Let's talk about a big part of that offense. Caleb Williams guy. I went ahead. I didn't do the graphic. I was like I said. I didn't. I really did not feel like
Coming in here
breaking
today,
breaking it down this game. So I didn't do the graphic today, but we here. Like I said, it comes with the territory. And let me try to get that color back, get that blue back on there. There we go. It comes with the territory, so we gotta do this. Win, lose, or draw. Caleb Williams guy, he was 10 for 24, 131 yards, 2 sacks, no touchdowns, no picks, no turnovers at all. This game was a lot more than what the stats the stats don't even look great, but
they don't look terrible. But you take out that fourth quarter and they look way worse.
I thought he was shaky all game. I
He
thought he
was
started
33. He had
nervous.
33 yards in the first half, and they said that is the lowest of a half that he has had in any of his quarters or any of
I
his
thought
games.
I thought Caleb started nervous, and I think he got settled in. I think he got settled in the fourth quarter, but whether it was excitement or nerves, I thought it got to him. I could feel it. He was off the mark today, Devin. He was missing throws like it was week one again, like it was the Titans game. It
I mean,
looked it.
the thing I didn't like was like it's cool to see him sometimes up there changing the play and everything like that, but
Mhm.
like they were doing that all the like back to back to back to back plays where they were kind of lining up for nothing and then walking up there and changing the play based on what the defense was doing. And I get doing it every so often when you see something you don't like, but you shouldn't be just like deciding the play call at that moment. Like there
And that's what they
should
were
be
doing.
something called.
That's what they were
And it,
doing. They were lining up in that empty formation, and they did, like you said, they did this like 4 or 5 times in a row. They lined up an empty, and then they would motion the guys to their correct spots, just so you could see what they in man or zone or whatever they were doing. They quickly stopped that. They stopped doing that after like the first or second drive. So,
I mean, but like I saw it even later in the game, like they would do it every so often, which
mhm.
again, that part I don't mind, but just like this was not a good game for the O line. Like I think I'd mentioned it in the green room before we went live that there were
Mhm.
a couple of times I remember just kind of like looking and I don't know where the O line went, but just like at multiple points, Caleb is still in the pocket. He didn't step up, he didn't step back very much. He's in the pocket, and he is just there's 3 or 4 black jerseys around him, and I'm sitting there like, what is going on? Like, why? I mean, I understand if maybe one person on the O line gets beat, maybe two, but when you have three people on the offensive line get beat, it's like, what's going on with that?
Look, Martin. Look, if you got some O line skills, try out for the team. Go to training
I
camp next
mean, I think
season.
Destin Posey was commenting earlier about our depth at O line was rough. So
Yeah, I did see
maybe
that.
Martin can go ahead and hey, if he's able to give us some help, we could have him on the show and everything.
Something, because look, the O line, they were good the last 2 games. Now, the thing with this plays right into the hands of the people who say we didn't play anybody. You know what I mean? We weren't
It
beating
does.
anybody. It plays right into that narrative, and
But see, if we had
it's
won this
true.
game, they would have said the same thing that like this didn't count either. So like those people that say that type of stuff, I don't know. Like they're just looking for something negative.
But if they said that after we won this game, guess what? The defense, people forget that the defense is a part of this team too. And they're supposed to help us win games. We didn't win, so yeah, they can say it. But if we won, guess what? Caleb struggled, the offense struggled, but there's special teams, Torrey Taylor, and those and the kick returners and stuff like that.
Let's be
Uh
real. Those punts by Tory, they they
Come on,
definitely helped
man.
the defense out.
Exactly. If we won this game, we would be able to hang our hat on that. There's 3 phases to every team, but we didn't win, so we can't even go. I don't even want to go down that road. But Bob Dunn, I want to answer this question. He said, "What do y'all think about our tempo? It feels like the first half we always lacking with momentum. This is a serious problem now. At this point, at week
I
8,
mean, at the very least for me, it's always the first quarter. The first
yes,
half, like last game against the Jaguars, the second
mm-hmm.
quarter we caught fire and we never really slowed down. But like the game before, it took a while, sometime like mid to late second quarter. But I'm just I'm not pleased with the and it for me it's not even just the offense sometimes. Like the defense is usually on the first drive, they march down and then they don't and then we hold them to a field goal, but they
Mm-hmm.
get into the red zone.
Yep.
Like against the Jaguars, we didn't hold them to a punt the first drive. They marched their way down and got right into the red zone and then could not convert because their red zone offense is very poor and our red zone defense is pretty solid. But we're
So,
still allowing points.
do you think, because I want to try to stay on Caleb as much as possible. Do you think Caleb, and I want to phrase this the right way, do you think the moment was too big, like the game was too big for, because he had a lot of he had a lot of people there that he knew, that this was his homecoming. This
Family,
was
friends, stuff like
it.
that.
It was huge. It was a big. I don't. Caleb says he doesn't get nervous. He said he's on record saying that. Um, do you think that it was just too big? The moment was just too big for him.
I mean, the all the storylines that were in this game, the 1 versus 2, the Caleb homecoming, all that stuff. Caleb versus Cliff Kingsbury, who used to be his coach, like all that stuff. It it could have been a little bit too much for him as this rookie quarterback and getting flexed into a more prime time
It was a
spot.
lot.
Like that, the pressure that's on him, honestly, the pressure that's on him just being a quarterback in Chicago is it's tough. Like we are not very forgiving as fans. So when you have like and for me, the
hmm
bye week might have definitely might have really played a factor in like him kind of like cooling down. Like we were hot going into the bye week and then we came out flat. Like yes, we've been coming out flat with a lot of games, but like if we had come back from London and we were playing the Commanders last week,
Yeah.
it might have been a completely different game. Like we wouldn't have had 2 weeks to just kind of like prepare and almost to a point of maybe over preparing.
I just want to let me shout out. He's John real quick. John, a former Baptist. He's Commanders fan here. Hell of a game, and I knew the Bears were going to come back and possibly win again. Hell of a effort. That was a good game. That was a great game, and people made it
I
about
mean,
Jaden Daniels versus
I
Caleb.
may not feel like it was a great game right now, but maybe give me a few weeks and I might be able to look at it and say
You, you,
objectively. But I
you
mean,
know,
my objectivity right now is a little on the fritz.
look, I have not ever had a therapist or nothing like that. But this is therapy. I don't know about you but like talk. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to. I was dreading coming in here and talking about this game. But this, like, just talking to you, talking to the chat and the other Bears fans out there about it. It's kind of therapy. It's real
It's
therapeutic for me right
cathartic
now.
a little bit, and we're able to all kind of share in each other's sorrows.
Yes, yes,
It's
because
kind of like a support group for for Bears fans
exactly.
right now.
No, for real. Because I was sick to my stomach when they caught that Hail Mary. Like I told you in the green room, I turned the TV off instantly when I knew there was no flags on the play. There was nothing. I didn't listen to Jaden Daniels talk and call me a sore fan or a sore loser or whatever. But I had to. I didn't. I love this team too much. I couldn't sit there and listen to Jaden Daniels talk. The chat on fire right now. Look, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, the Black Bear Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Rob, with my co-host Devin. You can catch us every Saturday and Sunday. What's up?
Just want to go get ahead and give a shout out to our the third member of our crew, Wes. He was out in Washington at the game,
Oh
and
man.
this game was probably a bit rough. He was we haven't heard from him since the end of the game, but he's probably
Going
not
through it.
too pleased. I was just saying as the game was finishing, I was saying being there live, watching this happen, you can't turn off the TV, you can't do anything. Like this is, it's got to be a pretty rough thing, and then
The
to be
game.
surrounded by everybody who is so happy, that would be rough.
Yeah, and I'm sure there was a decent amount of Bears fans there, but you are in enemy territory and you got to face the music, and we know how our guy is. He was probably talking his shit as we got the moving the ball down, and
After
it just
that touchdown, he was probably talking a lot of shit.
hell yeah, and rightfully so, because we couldn't wait for that touchdown. So I just want to look at this question real quick, and then we gonna move on. to the next segment. Keep this train going. Well, this is not the one. It's Martin. So do y'all think the Bears should have took Jalen? Because I'm still picking Caleb number one. Yes. I mean, no. We're not taking Jaden. I still believe in Caleb. This was a tough one, but I think I think with what happened, Jaden. Okay, so do you- do you think Jaden played Devin? Do you think Jaden played a good game? I guess I'll say good. Do you think he played a good game? Like it was
I
good. It
mean,
was fine. You, you get what I'm
look
trying
at
to
the
say?
fact that he had what was it, 367 yards or something? Like, I,
Let me
I
look.
know I was just looking it up because I was surprised that it was so many.
Mm-hmm.
And but like so his passing yards were I think like 320 something, 326 with one touchdown. That does not show like don't get me wrong, like he played a good game,
Whoa, he had 326 passing
but you have to
yards.
keep in mind that
Oh, I didn't know
like
that.
50
I did not
something
know
of
that.
it, at least 50 something of it came from that final Hail Mary.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the Bears were getting criticized earlier in the season when we had a Hail Mary to DJ Moore who just couldn't get into the end zone at the end of the first half.
Mm-hmm.
And people were criticizing Caleb that he shouldn't that yardage shouldn't be counted towards his final totals because it didn't do anything. And it's like, okay, so well, same thing goes with the Hail Mary. Like you like I don't know, like this to me the same it's the same concept that applies. Like, yeah, you got 55 plus yardage out of that. Like, but that was on one pass that you needed it to win the game. Like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times when you're playing to and you need to win the game like that, you end up getting a lot of yardage. Just kind of
And
like the way that Caleb got 97 yards in the fourth quarter. It was because of the fact that we were down. We needed to march down the field and do it quickly. And I was personally the bright spot that I see with Caleb
yeah.
is the fact that when if we had had somebody else as quarterback that some of our previous quarterbacks in a situation where you have 6 minutes, you need to march down the field, you
Mm-hmm.
need to get a touchdown, you in order to try and win this game. Other people would have not been in that. Would have made a mistake. Would have done something. He took that on and stepped up, and we did at that moment. We did what we needed to do to be able to win as far as the offense is concerned. And as much as they struggled, the way I'm looking at it is we the offense did what it needed to do to get a win.
So, and that kind of goes back to what Martin asked earlier. Will we still take Caleb number one?
I take Caleb number one
And
over
and
anybody. Like
yeah,
and
because he
we have
go
good
ahead.
quarterbacks that came out of this draft. Like Bo Nix is doing well. Drake May was
Mm-hmm.
doing well. He got hurt today, but he left in the second quarter with a concussion, I believe. But having quarterbacks that are doing well coming out in that same draft that we had the number one pick, so we had our choice of any of these. Jaden Daniels on the Bears does not do what Jaden Daniels on the Commanders did. I guarantee if we took Jaden Daniels and they got Caleb Williams, who again also worked with Cliff, and if they're out there doing the exact same things, I just I personally I would be sitting there wondering the same thing. Like, should we have taken Caleb over Jaden? Because Caleb would be lighting up the league, having a more like solid offensive line. Because like where their money is seems to be more on their offensive line than their defensive
Yep, he
players.
Barlissimo right there with you. He said it. Jaden is having success because of Washington spent a lot of assets on offensive line. And he's right there with you. And I agree. I definitely agree. But that offensive line, the reason that's that We all know it's an issue. And that's why I'm taking Caleb over any of those other quarterbacks. Jaden off his offensive line is obviously better than ours. I don't think he's running just like Justin did, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but he's running a lot just
Oh, it
like
is, in
Justin.
my opinion. It is in the fact that it's going
If
to cause him to have a shorter career.
if you're taking hits, yeah, I was just gonna say that. If you're taking hits, yes, you can't take those. You can't take hits, but um, Caleb is perfect for us because of our offensive line struggles. You know what I mean? I feel like his style of play, his magician like work in the pocket, it fits us. Like we need somebody who can put on a cape sometimes. You know what I mean? We
Yeah,
can't.
and
Everything isn't going to be perfect around you. You have to step up and put the cape on. Like I said, what's up,
I
Devin?
mean, don't get me wrong. Like I hope that Jaden has a long career in the league. Like I
Of
think it'll be
course.
fun going 2, 3, 4 years down the road having matchups because we seem to play the Commanders fairly often. So having matchups, the Bears versus the Commanders, and these like as these players get stronger and better and more developed, it'll be interesting to see. But like you can't 2, 3 years down the road, it's all at that point, it's about the development of the players and the pieces around them and stuff like that. And even now, the pieces around, like, we have better receivers around Caleb. They have a better offensive line. And
Hmm.
that kind of leans into what you were talking about way back in the draft process of talking about all the receivers and stuff like a good quarterback can make a mediocre wide receiver look great.
Hmm. Yep.
And
If you got time in that pocket, you
exactly,
could hit
like,
anybody out there.
and that's what Jaden Daniels is showing us with his team. Like he has time. Not to say that all of his receivers are mediocre or anything. Like he's
Right.
got some players that seem to be but they seem to be surprising people with how good they are. And I think that steps into the concept of good quarterback making somebody look even better than they are.
Okay, so the first of all, the chat is on fire. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Appreciate y'all tuning in to the Black Bear Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Rao, with my co-host, Devin. There's usually three of us, but our guy, he attended that Commanders game, like we said earlier in the show, and he's probably, healing or raging or whatever Bears fans do after a tough loss like this. So um look, we gonna move on and we'll finish the Caleb guide with and if you forget what Caleb had, is the numbers are going across the bottom of the screen. But we'll finish the Caleb guide with a Caleb Williams grade. We will grade our quarterback. And honestly, I don't really want to do top performers tonight, Devin, but
Okay.
I do want to compare these
Let's do the
quarterbacks.
blame game though.
Oh no, for sure. Oh, that's definitely coming. That somebody got to get blamed for this. That's definitely still going. Stay tuned. We'll get into the blame game a little later. Like I said, we got coach. We got listen to head coach Matt Eberflus. We'll listen to Caleb Williams speak at the podium as well. But right now, we will grade Caleb Williams' performance. Put it in the chat. What y'all give Caleb Williams a grade for this game? He's been getting some A's, some B pluses the last couple weeks. God damn. God damn. I don't know if and 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 Tory Taylor getting some more love because he definitely helped us tonight. He definitely helped us. Bear Truth is in the chat. Appreciate you tuning in, man. I was wondering where you was at. You was probably watching CHGO or somebody else before you jumped in here. That's cool. I'm gonna listen to CHGO later on in the week too. Um, look, what's up with the deep ball? It's a lot of things going on with this offense. There's a lot of people I'm seeing in the chat that I haven't seen before. But look, you want to? I'll give my grade first, Devin. How about that? I'll give my grade first for
Okay.
Caleb Williams. We've been giving him a lot of A minuses, B pluses, and stuff like that.
And
This
granted, that
ain't.
was on winning on days we were winning, on days that he was doing well and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then look, when he does well, we give him a good grade. But I didn't like what I saw from him from the start. Like I don't like the fourth quarter was really good from him. He stepped it up in the fourth, but that start was he just looked shaky and I think he walked into his the tunnel outfit that the athletes wear when they walk to the game, arrive at the game in the tunnel. I think he had like a big eye on his chest. And people on Twitter was like, he knows that all eyes are on him. So that's kind of why he wore the shirt with the big eye on his chest. Dude, they were on you. The eyes were on you. Look at our guy. Our guy showed up. But look, the eyes are on you. And you didn't step up today. You didn't step up like you have done in the previous week. You silenced the critics, but you didn't step up today. So I'm gonna go with I gotta go with a D plus. I gotta go with a D plus. It would have been a solid D. He gets a plus because of the fourth quarter. That's the only reason he's getting a plus from me right now. Put it in the chat what y'all think. Greg Caleb Williams' performance tonight. Maybe I'm wrong about the D plus. I love to see what y'all think in the chat. Devin, what you thinking?
I was kind of leaning towards D area myself, but personally, the D plus seems about right. Like it like you said, that fourth quarter is enough to give him that little plus because the marching down the field, knowing that you have to score a touchdown, I completely understand that a lot of other players in that position would have been way too worried about what was going on and might have tried to do too much, thrown an interception, something like that. That would have been just a nail in the coffin.
So Barelissimo said, how didn't he step up, dude? He had a tight first quarter, but after that question mark. I know what Caleb can do. I've seen it before. I know what he's capable of, regardless of the O line that's surrounding him. I know what I know. I've seen it before. You know what I mean. And what I saw today was not. He was missing guys, and he was missing easy throws. He was missing throws that if he gets in his hand, he just didn't look comfortable today to me. And from what I've seen, and obviously when we watch the All 22 and go look at the film throughout this week, we'll see what the offensive line exactly what they did. We'll see if the wide receivers actually were open on some of these plays.
And
But
there were some like even Romo. I hate to give him credit because I feel like he's not as bright as some people seem to think he is. But at one point, Romo was showing a one of the plays, and Komet was wide open when he was looking downfield, and then he took off anyways, and he didn't get the first down or something like, or he threw it deeper to somebody else that missed or something like. But whatever the case was, Komet was right there, and so I didn't like some of the play calling either, and but like at a certain point, like we've seen him change the plays and stuff like that on the
right.
line. And so if he doesn't like something, he should be changing it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of depends on how much time you have and stuff like that. But I didn't see the thing that I was really seeing. Like he didn't play the way he did in the past few games.
So and because I don't think there's some people in the chat, as you can see, who feel like he had a good game, and or I don't know where I'm never that from what I saw from him today, he's not getting to be. And this is about eye test. It's all about eye test because his stats ain't gonna tell. The stats aren't anything. Um,
Fairlissimo over there saying that's the pot calling the kettle black.
that is a good one. That's a good one. Look. I just said I chose Caleb because not this isn't the only reason, but a big reason I will still choose Caleb because he can overcome these issues, the fire that is surrounding him sometimes on that offensive line, and even sometimes with the offensive coordinator. I chose him because I felt like he can put the cape on and overcome those things. And when you don't overcome those things, I can't blame those things because I picked you. I can blame them a little bit, but I also picked you because I picked you knowing we have these issues. You know what I mean? I picked you hoping you can overcome those, and he didn't. He didn't. He just didn't today. The defense kept this game close, and he did what he had to do in the fourth quarter. He gets a plus for that. He gets a D plus for that.
I'm gonna just go ahead and Martin said that Tony Romo is a cheat code, calling plays on TV before they play even starts. That may be true, except for the fact that when they were reviewing that, going to review that um, passing touchdown that got ended up getting called incomplete, he said, "Oh, you can clearly see that he has possession all the way to the ground," and they
Mm-hmm.
were showing the angle from behind. I'm sorry, but when you say that and you can't actually see the ball because the player is in between the camera and the ball, that kind of makes you look bad. And I don't watch all of Tony Romo's games because he does happen to do games a lot of the times right after the Bears game, and so we're usually
Mm-hmm.
in here. But when you're trying to call that, like you can clearly see that he has possession all the way to the ground, and you're on the other side of the player, you, you can't see anything.
You talking
And
about
then
the touchdown by Zach
yeah,
Ertz? That's yeah.
that they ended up over. I can't remember if they called it a touchdown and overturned it, or if they, whatever the case was, they ended up not getting the touchdown. And it was clear that you could see the ball move after it hits the ground from the other angle. But I don't know. The officiating in this game was kind of suspect to me, but you can't blame the officiating as a
Is it me or are we soft today? I thought I get criticized for being a softy on Caleb all the time, but I'm seeing a lot of B's. I'm seeing a lot of B's in the chat. Devin, if it's me, just let me know because you usually can be the level headed one. I usually can be either high or low. You know what I
well,
mean?
I think that a lot of it is coming from the fact that people are noticing the fact that our offensive coordinator is just not giving calling good plays. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can only work with what you have. But see, in my opinion, the plays that were called,
Mm-hmm.
when you miss so many times, and there were a lot of missed throw, like some of them were not on Caleb, but some of them were. Like when you overthrow
Definitely.
two or three, four times, that's on you. Like, don't get me wrong, like I don't think we get rid of him or anything like that. But his game today, which is what I'm grading on, he struggled today.
I, oh man, look, we have if Caleb deserved a little bit of leeway today, he can get it, he can have it. But this we've seen worse. We've seen this O line play worse for Caleb than they did today. You know what I mean? And I think he played better than this. Like he got smacked up against the Texans. Look, I don't. From what I seen, I it
I was gonna
Caleb
say
was
that
shaky,
he took
man.
2 sacks. Like the O line played like crap today, and he still only took 2 sacks.
Hmm.
What did he have against the Texans? It was like 6 or 7 or something like that. Like it,
Yep, 7.
yeah. And so like against the Texans, he took 7 sacks, and his game was pretty similar to this, except he didn't throw an interception this game,
Hmm.
and I think he threw a couple in that game. But I mean, I get it. It's it is what it is. Like the the sacks part, like he probably would have had more sacks if he didn't run as much as he did. And I was getting nervous with his running. And
Jesus Christ, the chat is crazy. Keep going.
chat, I'm just like I was getting nervous with some of his running, and there were some that I wished he had run a little more. And so I don't know. Like for me, when you have a position where you or an image where Caleb is standing there and there are three defensive linemen right in his face, and they looked almost as shocked to be there as he was. Like they looked shocked to be there. Like they weren't continuing to run. Like they'd stopped and they were like, I wasn't expecting to be here so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was expecting to face more resistance, which is why he kind of had time one of the times to get a pass off. I don't know. Like this was not his best game for me.
It wasn't.
In my opinion. Like he did not play the way that like the thing that I kept coming back to is the accuracy thing.
Mm-hmm.
You you go to last week and he was hitting people right where they needed to. He was like they were like high pointing the ball and shit like that, like getting him at the spot where only the receiver could catch it. Today that he was hitting trying to hit people behind that like they had to try and reach back and grab it and they weren't able to do it, and it's like or he was just throwing out of reach and stuff like so those things are on Caleb. The
Mm-hmm.
play calling, the offensive line stuff and everything like that isn't on him, but I don't know. That was it was rough to watch the way that he played.
Oh, wait, look, and look, Elijah said, "What's y'all take on Jared Everett's performance so far this season?" I just want to make answer this real quick. Robert Tanyan, nothing. He had a few
He
good
is
first
Robert
downs,
Time.
but this is
I
Robert
was
Tanyan.
praying that he would be a better alternative, but it is equal.
It definitely is so far this season. Yep. You got a lot of games to prove that otherwise, but right now, I just want to say that to me is Robert Tanyan. Harambe 2024 said this game should have been way uglier for us, but we got lucky. The ref saved us. Otherwise, Washington would have won by 20 points easily.
I don't feel like the
Um,
refs saved us from that much. I mean, they saved us. I admit that it was we got lucky with the pass defensive pass interference in the end zone to set up that first and goal on the 1 yard line to take the lead for the first time. And as much as we'd like to say, like, hey, yeah, our wide receivers are great and stuff, but defensive players are supposed to not pass interference too. So
yeah,
we got
yeah.
lucky that he did something he wasn't supposed to do. But
Um, I like this comment here, and then I do want, like I said, I want to bring in Matt Eberflus. We'll listen to him real quick. Rest our voices for a little bit. Bear Truth said, no matter the O line competency as an offensive coordinator, you got to call the game based on what you can handle. If you got to put in more guys blocking to make a pass, then do it. The hell, Komet not in no more. Look, I agree with that. The part where we know who this O line is. You know what I mean? Like this week 8, we know what we can and can't do. We know what certain players can and can't do. If we can't call, if we can't protect for 5-step drops, stop calling them as much. You know what I mean? If we can't block certain things, if we can't contain certain things, stop calling them as often. We know what we can and can't do, especially with this offensive line. Now, Braxton Jones went down. Karan Amagaji had to come in. I don't think anybody expected that to happen, obviously. And for the first, like, 4 or 5 plays, he struggled. Pass protection, he struggled. Even on some run blocks, he struggled. We didn't plan for that. But I just to give the ball to Kramer on the 1 or the 2, and Roshan and him has been buddy, good cop, bad cop, where Kramer just blasts through and Roshan follows, and then you try to give it to him. I just didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. And I think the DJ
see
Moore,
that's the thing. Like we if we score on that drive,
mm-hmm,
this is a whole different game.
definitely,
Like
definitely.
and it very well could end the same way. But like if we score on that drive, then they're going for it on that 4th and inches or whatever that they had instead of punting it. And there's so many other situations where things change if we had scored on that drive. And
Mm-hmm.
we didn't let them score again after it,
Mm-hmm.
but just the way that it happened, it was very deflating. And
I disagree with Harambe on this. Am I tripping? I'm not tripping. The defense didn't get cooked. The defense did what they have done. That is a top in the red zone. Look, when you get in that red zone, it is tough. The field shortens down. That cover two can really sink his teeth in. You can Nobody's getting beat for 50 yards because it's not that much space. I don't know, man. I wouldn't necessarily go this far.
I don't necessarily know if I say cook.
Yeah, not cooked.
Like
They gave up
maybe
some
if you're looking at the
yards.
stats and say
Yeah,
367 yards in
exactly.
the rushing combined with his passing yards and stuff.
Right.
Okay, maybe, but they got one touchdown.
Yep. And it was, yep. Hmm.
When you hold them to one touchdown, I can't I can't say that the defense ever got cooked. Like one, I mean,
Random call. Yes, sir. Yes, we did. Bears, he said, Bears fans were talking crazy. Came in thinking it was going to be a blowout. I said it in the last live stream. Yes, you were here and you did. If you're thinking a blowout, you're basing it off last year, and that's a mistake. Honestly, and I told you this yesterday on the live stream. I appreciate you jumping in here, and we're not gonna tuck our tails. We're gonna face the music because this happens, and you were 2 seconds away from losing that game. But look, we weren't. I don't think any Bears fan is basing this off of an offense from last year. Well, we have more weapons. We have a different quarterback, a different starting running back. We're not basing this off of last year. Like
I
nobody's
mean,
doing that.
didn't they have Montez Sweat still last year? The Commanders did.
I think so. When we played
Yeah,
them,
when we
they had
played them, they had
Montez.
Montez Sweat. They had Tuesday other side of him. I'm blanking on his name. I think he plays for the Saints now.
Chase Young.
Chase Young. I see. I was thinking Chase, but then I said Claypool, and I'm like, that ain't right. But yeah, they had Chase Young, and I never, when I was thinking that we might beat the Commanders, it wasn't based on last year because last year for both teams were two different teams, like completely different teams. So
Let me mention this real quick, and then I'm gonna pull up the coach. He's Samson Knight said, and the refs took 3 TDs back for y'all, or else it could have been a beat down. First of all, they didn't take nothing back. You can't. For people who actually played football, you don't get anything. Like some people say, oh, you bailed you out with a passing interference call or a holding call. No, you held him. You that was you can't do that. You are
ineligible
not good
man
enough.
downfield. If you're not supposed to go a certain distance, you don't do it. If you
They
do,
had the same
you
idiot O lineman going downfield every time. That's not on the refs. Come on now. You almost lost that game, and you probably would have said this same thing as an excuse that the refs bailed us out. That's not how that goes. You had an idiot offensive lineman downfield every single time you ran some trickery, and you didn't rep it enough with him. That's all that was. Good win. We didn't get bailed out. Nothing. That's all I want to say about that. I don't know if you got some comments you want to pick out and discuss real quick while I bring up Matt Eberflus. It's
no, not
look.
not feeling that. I don't know. Like for me, it does seem like there's a lot of non-Bears fans hopping in here, which is surprising.
I love it. I love it. No, our QB is not trash. You want to pop that comment up there for me? That our QB is not trash. Not trash at all. And if you think he's trash, just put it in the chat. Let us know why you feel Caleb Williams is trash. And why your quarterback isn't. I mean, Jaden Daniels. Look, Jaden Daniels is Jaden Daniels. They're two Heisman Award winners, and this is. I was talking about this yesterday on the live, Devin. It's hard to enjoy what Jaden Daniels is doing because of this back and forth between Caleb and Jaden. We can't even enjoy what's going on for real because
We can't enjoy
if
good
you
football because it's being thrown back in our
exactly
face.
exactly it's crazy
I
to me,
mean,
but
I get it, Harambe. Like we all get a little heated sometimes when it comes to football, and more so when things don't go the way that we planned. But I don't know. I feel like we sometimes we got to be patient, and I know that we struggle with that. And I feel like there's lights at the and see the thing is you look at like the Bears and Commanders last year, and both of us were just kind of not very good
oh my
teams.
goodness, yes.
And the fact that we're even talking about it this way, like, yeah, we're talking about the fact that like we're having so much like discussion about who's going to be good and who's going to be bad, and then we have a game like this, which, let's be real, like this is a low scoring game for both teams right now. Like the Commanders have been consistently putting up like 30 points, and that's great. And Jaden has done well. He runs a lot, which I don't feel like
Yep.
that's as important to a quarterback, but it helps out extending drives. And we've seen that with Justin Fields. We've seen that with Caleb. So I'm just excited about the future. Like, yeah, we're gonna talk trash and stuff like that back and forth, but having us right now being able to even discuss the fact that we're both in good positions to continue going forward. Like, I don't know if there are Commanders fans out there that are saying that the Bears are not in a good position going forward, then they're just absolutely wrong. And just like I would be absolutely wrong to say the Commanders are not a good team, they're just getting lucky or anything. Like, no, they're doing what they're doing, and we're doing what we need to project a future.
Dude, look, Harambe, y'all ran the ball. You're a good running ball. You're good at running the ball. You're a good running team. Like, knock it off. Let's not act like you're good at running the ball. You're good at scheming these guys open. Like, you got a good coaching staff. Like, I don't know what do you.
Harambe's with us. He's a Bears fan. Just
Oh,
so you
is
know.
he? Oh, okay. I was about to say because like I keep hearing this
He just gets heated with when it comes to football.
man, and I'm trying to pull up coach, and I'm just looking at the chat back and forth, back and forth. So Harambe, I ain't even mean to get down on you like that. But look, man, I keep hearing the same thing. It's like Jay Nance, look, he's a good talent. Caleb is too. It's like they want us to say that we got it wrong, and that's not gonna happen. We're not gonna say that because obviously circumstance matters.
As we've
And
already discussed earlier in the show, I said if things were reversed, if we took Jaden Daniels first and the Commanders went and took Caleb Williams, this would be the exact same discussion.
yep.
Jaden Daniels would be struggling. He might be hurt because of all the sacks that he took. Whatever the case may be, we would be sitting there with the same exact discussion of Caleb Williams doing absolutely amazing behind a good old line, and us wondering maybe we should have taken Caleb first. I feel like taking Caleb first was better for the Bears in what they have right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he is going to be, in my opinion, he will be a better quarterback in the future. I can't predict the future. Mark Robb can, because he called earlier in the game, we need to start running the ball more. And then almost the next play, we hand it off to Swift. He gets a few good blocks and takes it to the house. And I'm like, Mark, are you psychic?
Look, I appreciate that. I wish I could call the game because I didn't. I look, I called. I 28-17 was my score. I said, I think I texted this to you, or I might have tweeted it out. that most Bears fans got the Commander score right, but no, not one Bears fan got the Bears score right tonight. So that was a big issue. I got Matt Eberflus up. We'll bring him up. Before we do that, I just want to plug real quick. Look, we got a lot of people in the chat. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, the Black Bear Podcast. We on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter as well. Just hit the subscribe button. Help us grow. We love talking Chicago Bears just like everybody else. So but we like having fun doing it and being real and authentic with it. No agendas here. If you suck, you suck. If you play well, you play well. Obviously, Bears fans disagree, and this is a safe place to come in here and talk your shit and let it all hang out. Let the emotions hang out on your sleeve. But I got Matt Eberflus up here, and we'll just listen to him talk, rest our voices for a little bit. Then we'll listen to Caleb, and then we'll cap this out with some blame game and wrap this up. Matt Eberflus at the podium.
Okay. Just got out of the locker room. Obviously, the guys are disappointed. When you lose a game like that, that's a tough one to swallow after coming back. But also, same conversation that really excited, how they battle back to be able to win that game. So, it's important to look at that too. And with all the offensive linemen that we had in and out of there, I thought the guys battled in there. The pocket was firmer in the second half, I thought was good. We drove the field twice at the end. There's going to be questions about Doug Kramer play. Again, I got our 1 yard plays, goal line, that, 3 or 4 of those. But, and then obviously the defense's response to that was.
Looks like we lost Mark. He's probably having some technical difficulties there, but I think that it's gonna be. Honestly, I'm with Eberflus there. That's probably pretty tough to come out of that locker room.
Apologize.
Welcome back, Mark.
Yeah, I'm back. Got kicked while he was speaking. We'll try this again. Bear with me. Because he mentioned, I don't know if you heard, but he mentioned that Doug Kramer play.
He mentioned that
he said we're
going
to look at the film about that play. He mentioned it right away, and I'm glad he did because there's going to be talk. That's going to be talked about all week long. Here he is again.
Kramer, because they need to look at a lot of the plays.
Yes.
We drove the field twice at the end. And I know there's going to be a lot of questions about the Doug Kramer play. Again, I got to look at the. But, and then obviously the defense's response to that was actually go through. Get him down there. And, the one.
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Devin?
Yep.
All right. So I cannot, that is not working right now. My connection is very laggy. I probably should have done it a different way, but all right. So that ain't gonna work tonight. I apologize. We normally play the coach, and then we normally, let's go to Caleb Williams right after. But I don't want to waste too much time. It's not working. It's lagging. So we will continue on with the show and just cut that segment out. Do you really want to pick which quarterback was better? I think we know which quarterback was better. I don't
the
think
only area that we won was running back, in my opinion.
Yeah, literally.
The only area, because they had receivers that were better than all of our receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can kind of break down the players that did well and stuff like that. Like I thought Rome did pretty decent today. He had a few decent catches, modest 40 yards, but I don't know. Like our receiving game was not very good, anyways.
Yeah, it was
So
rough. You see the numbers going across the bottom of the screen for the wide receiver numbers. Nobody eclipsed 50 yards. Roma Dunze was close. I predicted him having a breakout game. A lot of not really breakout because he had the 100+ yards against the Colts with a touchdown, but a lot of us had him playing pretty good today. I did too. Yeah, I'm looking at this. Like you said, the only award we're gonna get is the DeAndre Swift running back award for top performers. If people don't know, we do the top performers for both teams every week as well. I don't think it's necessary to go through that this week. We lose every position, including coach, because you don't get that unless you win the game. Their
and
defense was just as good as
even with the
ours.
win, that the way the game was called might have, even if we had just barely squeaked out a win and we stopped their Hail Mary, it'd be hard. Like the I don't know. It would still be a conversation between the coaches, I think. But let's go ahead and
Yep, Yep, we'll move on and then let's play the blame game. Yeah, that hurdle that hurdle was nice, Elijah. That hurdle was nice and it was nice because
it
Jaden
was
did it.
nice. It was even nicer in my opinion because the Swift hurdle was like he hit the ground and then he kept going. Like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times when you hurdle people, you get tripped up. The dude was starting to stand back up. Like he
Mm-hmm.
was starting to stand back up. So it had to be even higher than what he intended. And he clipped Swift's foot.
Yes.
And then once he hit the ground, he still kept pushing. And see, normally when people hurdle, they get a few extra yards out of it, but they don't actually going.
Harambe, I agree with you. Even if we won, I wouldn't be that happy. But guess what? Like I said, if y'all don't know me that well, and a lot of people just tuning in, I am in Packer country. I'm in Wisconsin, so I gotta go to work tomorrow, and I gotta hear about this. So it'll be a little bit easier to defend my team if we won this game, and then focus on the next week. You move on because once Wednesday come, we can't. We gotta, or at least the players for sure, they're turning the page on Monday. They get 24 hours, and then you got to turn the clock. This game don't matter no more. But like I said, I'm in Packer country, so this win would have made
It's gonna be
my
a long week.
it's gonna be a long ass week. Like I said, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, the Black Bear Podcast. We here every week, Saturday, pregame shows, 3 the hard way with my guys. It's usually 3 of us. One of us was at the game. I got Chef West. Y'all know him. He was at the game. So he's probably enjoying himself. And then, I got my guy Devin in the building with me. But look, we're here every week, post-game shows and preview shows as well. Let's play the blame game, and then we'll wrap this up. It's getting kind of late. Let's play the blame game. If you want to blame a couple people, you could do that. If you want to just stick it all on one guy, do that. Chat, y'all join in as well. Let's play the blame game. Who we blaming for this loss? I'll go first. And
Real quick
go
before
ahead.
we get
Yep.
into this, I just
Mm-hmm.
want to touch on this comment here by Ron. He commented that time was expired. The game should have been over, but just so that he's aware. I mean, not everybody is aware of this because it doesn't always come into play. But once the ball is hiked, the game isn't over until the play is done. Like once the clock runs out, you
Mm-hmm.
continue playing the play, and then once that play is over, the game is over. And so there was really nothing to really overrule in that last touchdown, but just wanted to briefly touch on that. Just make sure
Mm-hmm.
that everybody was aware of that.
For sure. Let's play the blame game now. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna just do it because I'm if West was here, he definitely hold my feet to the fire. He'd make sure I do this. I'm blaming Caleb. I'm blaming multiple people, but I'm blaming Caleb right now for the start. Obviously, there's other culprits. You see there's some people blaming the offense. There's a lot of components to that. Offensive line, wide receivers, quarterback, offensive coordinator, who you blame, and maybe running backs. Can't blame him. I'm blaming Caleb. Caleb, 10 completions, 24 attempts. Like I said, I thought he looked uncomfortable to start the game. And this ain't even the best D
And
line he's
6 of those
faced.
completions, I believe, came in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So that means
I
in
mean,
3 quarters you had 4.
just not good enough. Just not good enough. I mean, we can make excuses, yes. But we did that with Justin. And like I told you earlier, I drafted this guy so I can alleviate some of those excuses. Now, the O-line was an issue today. But if we won that game, you win and you lose with the quarterback. He didn't play good today. My first blame game is going to the quarterback.
I'm kind of in that same boat, except I'm going with the offense as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really, the only bright spot of the offense today was Swift, which is interesting because he was a dark spot earlier on in the season. Like,
Yes.
I gotta say that, like, there were times when I was thinking we need to reevaluate who our RB1 is. And after the way that he has played for the past few games, I am changing that tune because he has played like a bona fide number one running back. He has
Mm-hmm.
done what he needs to do. He gets now as long as they aren't trying to like ram it down the middle every single run by him, they're getting some good plays.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of stems into the offensive coordinator, knowing who you have on your team, knowing what you can do. And our offensive line struggled a lot, but and I know Caleb struggled too, but there were passes that were hitting the receivers right on the hands and they couldn't hold on.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, so to me, like, there is plenty of blame to go around.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I
Yes.
would say a big portion of it is probably on Caleb and that offensive line because there wasn't very many missed catches by, but like I think DJ had one, and I'm pretty sure Keenan Allen had one that both of them just hit his hands. And and as much as I want to just say that the offense was, I mean, the offense is my favorite part to watch. Like I'm gonna go out and say it. Like I know it's like basic to kind of really enjoy the offense,
Mm-hmm.
but
I mean, there's
like
offensive players and there's defensive players. That's just how
but
it
like
goes.
I mean for me the defensive side just isn't as normally of a normal football game or really any sport for me. Like when I'm watching basketball, I'm more excited to watch what we're doing, what the players are doing on offense. And it's like when if they turn the ball over, it's like, oh, my interest kind of drops a little bit. Or after they score, my interest drops a little bit while they're on defense.
Scoring
And it
points.
kind
People
of
like scoring points.
and so like that's kind of how I am with football. Like I have my favorite defensive players. TJ Edwards, who he had some missteps today,
Oh
getting
my God.
getting crossed over by Jaden Daniels, but he
Ooh.
got a sack today too. So I mean, these players have their ups and downs as well,
Of
and
course.
like in an entire game, Caleb had his ups and his downs. He had some more downs in this game than he had ups, but
Definitely.
he, at the end of the day, I'm still like I am impressed. Like as much as I criticize the offense, that fourth quarter offense was nice. And coming from years of fourth quarter being our worst offensive production,
Mm-hmm.
this year this game it was our best. And that's kind of interesting. And hopefully they can figure out how to make the entire game play competent offense, and then if we need to kind of rely on the fourth quarter being our best off. Like, because if you can play your best offense in that fourth quarter, that is going to help you win more games.
Just like I always say, the money down, the third down is where you make your money as a quarterback or a wide receiver. Third down is that's the money down. Fourth quarter, that's the money quarter. That's where champions are born and legends are made. The fourth quarter is very important, and Caleb almost did what he had to do to win that game in the fourth quarter. I really wish we won that game. I really did.
I mean, we'd be having a completely different conversation right now. But at the same time, as much as we blame the offense, I got to give some blame to Tyreek Stevenson
Mm,
because we haven't really touched on him this game. I mean
mm-mm.
this show.
Yep.
And how do you jump up there to tip the ball? And we were discussing, like my parents and I were kind of discussing it after the game. How do you have all of your defensive players going to the ball when 90% of Hail Marys are meant to tip the ball and then hope somebody in the back can catch it in the end zone? How do you have everybody go to cover the ball and nobody stay back to cover the defender?
Right.
Like, if one person was further back and was able to tip the ball away, then we would have won the game. After that first tip, Tyreek Stevenson jumped up, tipped the ball right to the guy in the back, and even the announcers were saying afterwards that that is the easiest tipped ball from a Hail Mary that they have ever
Oh,
seen.
it went right into his hands. He was almost shocked. It was so
He was
clean.
surprised. And
Oh
the fact
man.
that, I mean, I've seen players get shocked when they get the ball tipped to them on a Hail Mary and then don't catch
Hmm.
it. But like, just the way that it happened was just devastating.
Like I
It was
told you, I
just
turned my
like
TV
it sent
quick.
a shock through my entire body, and my body almost just kind of like shut down. It was rough to watch. But at the end of the day, as a defensive player, and Tyreek Stevenson is still only in his second year.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna attribute I'm gonna chalk that part, which it shouldn't be, but like, because he is a very solid cornerback, and he should know better than this. But you don't, like, you can't jump up there and tip the ball backwards. You jump up there and swat it to the side or something, like do something to get it out. You like, just the way that happened, just like you do that 100 more times and it does not happen
And
that
it
way.
does not happen that way. You know what's funny though? So I play Madden. So when me and my brother play Madden, we play on the same team, Madden Ultimate Team. And we can play on the same team. I'm the quarterback, he's a receiver. And I swear to you, we have every time we've been in a situation where we needed a Hail Mary, that was what we always ran. I swear to you, Devin. Look, I always tell them, go behind the crowd. Let them
Well, no,
tip it back.
that's how you run a Hail Mary. Like, that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
You have a guy that's set up and you try to kind of like
Yep.
bat the ball into their hands, or like
Mm-hmm.
hope to get the tip or whatever. But see, the problem, what you're supposed to do on the defense is bat it down, maybe
Mm-hmm.
bat
Knock
it
it
to the
down.
side. Although I guess we would be just as mad if he jumped up there, batted it to the side, somebody else caught it and
Mm-hmm.
stepped into the end zone. We would be just as mad. But the problem is, every single one of our defenders in that area all went to the ball. I don't think we needed to do that. One player, two players was enough, and we could have had Stevenson hanging back in case of
Mm-hmm.
a tipped ball.
Watching anybody trying to leak behind and stand behind
Exactly.
the crowd. I'm gonna guard him. I see you back there. I'm gonna stay next to you just because it's what literally 21 other guys at the ball trying to tip it. So, or not 21, but all the DBs are at the ball trying to tip it. I see you back there, sneak into the back of the pile. I'm gonna follow you back. Let me give out another blame. Let me give out another blame. I gave it to Caleb. You gave it to the offense as a whole and Stevenson, right?
Hmm.
I gotta go with, and I know a lot of people not gonna like what. Well, no, never mind. I won't do that. I was gonna go.
I mean,
I
the
was gonna
only
go
thing that people
coaches.
wouldn't like is if you were to like blame Tory Taylor, because he went out there and just did his job.
Tory,
You out there like, how the heck could you only punt it within the 10? You had to get it inside the 5 every time.
that
I mean,
defense love Tory. I tell you, they love Tory because
and
he makes their job
see
so easy.
that's like, this is the type of game where you see the impact that he had. Like
Hmm.
without Tory, like say go with like Gill, who we had last year, and they're scoring more touchdowns.
Oh, their field
They
position is way better
they
than it
are,
was by
and
far.
I will say Tory Taylor is probably what caused Jane Daniels to get over 300 yards, because he had to keep marching the entire length of the field to try and
Yeah,
get
yeah,
close.
putting them in. Well, they had 4 field goals today, 5, something like that.
4 field goals.
4 field goals. Yeah, so you're right. He actually, yeah. I mean, but I'm going O line. I'm gonna go O line. I gotta do it. I was gonna go coaches, but I forgot there was something worse than the coaches. Something you can't teach, and that's just like, are you good or not? Like they were not. They struggled today. If this was not
No,
their worst game, I'm not gonna say this was their worst game, and
no,
that's why
they're.
I
I mean,
gave him a D plus.
against the
Caleb.
Texans, it's hard, because against the Texans we let up 7 sacks, but
Yeah.
that could have altered his thinking, and that's why this game he had a lot more rushing yards.
Yes.
At one point, he had more than Jaden Daniels. I don't know if he ended with more than Jaden, but
No, he didn't.
he ended with something, probably something like 40 something or so rushing yards,
Yep.
which,
41.
and it sounds like he doesn't want to run. He will if he has to, but he doesn't want to, which I'm respectful of that, because he knows that in order to last in this league, running is not, it can't be your main go-to.
It's hard when you taking hits and getting taking licks by these big dudes out there. But the like I said, the O line, they didn't make Caleb wasn't comfortable. He just wasn't in it. I'm sure it was because of that O line.
Yeah.
Karan just put the icing on the cake when he came in. Obviously, he probably shouldn't have been in that situation like that, but damn, he 4 or 5 straight plays. Like he was run game, pass game. He was just getting manhandling. I'm not even putting this all on him because everybody was bad. It was if Caleb escaped one guy, somebody else let their guy through. So Caleb couldn't even really
Like that when they got that sack that was back like 15 yards or whatever.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Part of that's on Caleb, because he at a certain point he probably should have thrown it away.
Hell yeah, we got knocked out of field goal range.
But at the same time, when you're sitting there and you escape one person, and then there's another person there, and then there's another
Right.
person there, and then it's like, at a certain point it can't all be on him. Like the other guys have to do their job too. Like they get paid their money to block the quarterback, and if you can't do that, I don't know. Like that's one. This is the type of game that causes me to push back even harder about the fact that we shouldn't be spending big money on defensive players. Like right now, our offensive line is struggling. It's not, and people will bring up the fact that no team is getting rid of good offensive linemen. Right now, most offensive linemen around the league are better than ours. Even if
A
he's
lot.
not necessarily like a good offensive lineman, getting somebody to come in that would be an improvement
Mhm.
isn't super difficult. I'm
Well,
sorry
so
to say.
you gotta look at our O line because the right guard, um, what is his name?
Prior,
Matt Pryor, backup. He's a backup. Backup.
and
Um,
yet I feel
Coleman
like he's
Shelton.
doing well.
He's playing. He's playing okay. He's playing. It's
He's playing
hard
better than
because
Nate Davis. Okay,
yeah,
that,
it's
I
just
mean, I guess
hard.
that's not a very high bar.
Right, because they're for what they are. You know what I mean? It's not like he was this second or third round, first round pick. You know what I mean? For what he is playing well enough. He is not playing good enough to be a starter. And that's my thing with Braxton Jones as well. That's my thing with Coleman Shelton as well. Coleman Shelton was brought in to be the backup center to Ryan Bates. And I don't know where Ryan Bates is. He should just be
Is he
getting
still
healthy,
on the
but
injured reserve list?
I thought he came back. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. We'll find all that out. But yeah, they just I, that O line. It's kind of late to fix it. It is kind of late to fix it. As an offensive coordinator,
And
like
I
I said, we
understand that. But if you spend too much, I mean, for me, if you spend too much draft picks and then cap space on
mhm,
your defense, like there's a lot of discussion going on about getting another edge rusher. And as much as I was very big on that in the draft last year,
mhm.
I don't think that going out and getting a top caliber edge rusher right now, it'll cost way too much, be a big hit on our cap, be a big hit as far as draft picks, and then we won't be able to do like last year we struggled. I mean, we talk about the fact that our O line sucks. Well, we didn't have enough draft picks last year to make our O line better.
Mhm.
And you don't pass up on top tier talent quarterback last year to get an O line first. And I was not pleased with, I'm not pleased with the discussions of trading away large amounts of picks that like early round picks, especially when I'm pretty sure that this upcoming draft is not as deep. So you're not going to find as much talent in the third and fourth round as you would have say last year.
And that's a good thing. And you talking about trade away picks and everything like that. We got 2 seconds. You can get. We see what we did with the last time we had 2 seconds. It turned to
I don't think
Brisker
that
and Kyler Gordon.
the second from that we're going to have this year is going to be worth as much as like say it was last year because of the talent pool. Like,
Well, I mean, we got to remember who our second is coming from. It's the Panthers. That'll be like a
well,
30
that I'm talking about like our second, but
hour
like as
second.
far
Yeah,
as like
we'll our
a third
second.
round last year was worth more than a second round this year because the quality of players last year went even deeper into the draft than the quality players this year.
Right.
If
And
that
we're
makes any
and
sense.
yeah, no, it does. It definitely does. The talent pool. And that's kind of why Ryan Post traded for Montez Sweat. He didn't see a Montez Sweat in the second round of this year's draft. So he's traded that second last year for Montez because I mean, why not? If you don't think
Mhm.
there's a second round talent as good as him, you make that move. So I definitely see where you're coming from. We'll see. We'll look at
Well,
these
but
guys
it
and
also depends. The Commanders were willing to take a second round pick for Montez Sweat.
mhm.
That may not happen with like Max Crosby or Garrett from the
Miles
Bengals.
Garrett. No, I mean, no, you're definitely to make one of those moves. You're definitely gonna give up some stuff. You're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
so
and
I
I'm guessing that they probably would also want packaged in there some type of like some of our depth players that we have, like maybe I don't know, I don't know what they would even need, but it just it goes to show that they're those the players that are out there right now as far as like that are being shopped around and stuff, the
mhm.
price is going to be too high for these rebuilding teams that are basically hoping to get a lot of young players so they can try and put together a team that in 2-3 years is competitive. We're at the point where we're maybe a year away from being really competitive. We're being competitive this year. Like we're not going to be a pushover team. Like last year it was kind of the beginning of the year it was like any team that was going up against us we're going to be able to expect to just beat us. And this year I feel that that's not the case coming in. Now there were definitely people out there who thought that and thought right away that they could come in and just beat us and move on and stuff like that, but it's not turning out that way.
I agree. My thing, look, Pose ain't about to. He's not gonna mortgage the future. You know what I mean? My only thing is, and this came up in the chat earlier, is they know that you're not gonna have this team like this. It's different. Things change over one NFL offseason, and I don't know. People, it's just I don't know if we'll be this dominant. When you have a team like this and you have a defense like this, you got to take advantage of it. This is another defense that we probably going, not win the Super Bowl with this year, and it's a top defense that's worthy of a Super Bowl. So
And what's interesting is when we came into this season, we were trying to say, like, hey, look at how our defense played at the end of last season, and it's only going to be better. And last year, it was playing pretty good. And this year, it has been, to me, it has been better. Like, we have been holding teams to under 21 points. We did it again today. And we've been like taking the ball away. I think this is the first game in a while that we haven't had a takeaway.
no takeaway.
And
And we would have talked about that. We didn't need to get into all of that tonight.
but it's just like our defense is playing better than they did last year
Yes,
at the end of the season. And the end of the season, they were playing pretty good. This year, they're playing even better.
mm-hmm.
And I will say that, like, even with the injuries that we had today, I would say our defense played pretty well. With those players in, I feel like we probably would have been able to pull out a win because there might have been a situation where we would have stopped them from getting one of those field goals or something like that. I don't know. This is a tough game for us. So I'm just honestly half the time I'm just sitting here trying to find something where I can say,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
"Hey, this was this was why we lost. This was why." And it's
But the good thing is, and my headphones just died. The good thing is we do got the Cardinals up next, then we got New England up after that. A lot of people wanted us to go um
3 and
3 and
0
0,
until
3 and 0 until we
but
face
I was seeing people saying as long as we can go to at least 2-1, we should be in a pretty good position. And the other teams are in our division. The other teams are starting their division games as well soon. Like I believe the Packers are going to the Lions next week. I might be wrong on that, but it sounds like it's. I could have sworn that they mentioned that in because I watched the Packers game before the Bears game,
Mhm.
and going up against the Lions is going to be tough. I
They
think
do
the Lions
they
start to
play
pull
the
away at
Lions.
this point,
They
but
they do they play the Lions next week, and we're not out of it by any means. We're still here. We're 4-3. We're still competitive in this division and in this conference. So it's the world is gonna feel like the sky is falling, but it's not. It's not. It's gonna be a long week. This is how the NFL goes. It's not like the NBA where they got back to back sometimes or 3 games in one week. No, you gotta sit on that L. We gotta sit on this L until we can turn the page next Saturday and talk about the Cardinals, and then next Sunday and talk about that game. So it come with the territory, man. We talked a lot of shit. I know I was confident. Like I said, I didn't see too many Bears fans predicting us to score under 30, but
I
it,
saw
it
28
happens.
quite a bit. For some
I,
reason, 28 seemed to be where a lot of people that I saw putting us at. But there were some Bears fans I saw had us at 17 and they had the Commanders at 27. And I'm like, ooh, that's a lot more than I would have expected. But
I had us at 28-17. They scored 18. I had us 28-17. Like I said, I see a lot of people who predicted about, they predicted Washington score right, but most Bears fans I've seen just got our score completely wrong, including myself. I don't think anybody expected that. Nobody expected that. So um if we lose one more game, it's over. You might be right. You might be right, but it's a lot of football to play.
I was
It's a
gonna say
lot of
we weren't
football to
out
play.
at we weren't out of it last year and we lost our first like 3 or 4 games. We
Yeah.
weren't out of it until like the second to last week or third to last week or something.
Tony Parker, he said, "Yep, y'all deserve that loss because talking shit." Hey, look, we gonna keep talking shit because
Oh, I didn't realize that the Commanders don't talk shit. Okay, that's very
that,
interesting to hear.
that's what I was gonna say because they talk shit too. So I mean, look, it's okay, good win. If you're a Washington fan, that's a good win for y'all. I mean, I do believe at the end of the year, both of these teams will be, in the offseason without a ring. So, good win, great win. Jaden Daniels did what he was supposed to do. Cliff Kingsbury did what he was supposed to do. Dan Quinn had a defense that stifled our offense. They played a good ball game today. You know what I mean? They did what they had to do, even though they won off a Hail Mary, and we'd be totally different conversation right now. Totally different. That's the sick part about it. But anybody else you want to blame? Any more comments you want to point out? Anything like that before we get up out of here?
Nah, I think I'm good. It's been a long evening here so far, so
Yes. All right. Well, we're gonna sign off. Look, appreciate everybody tuning into the Black Bear Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Rob, with my co-host Devin. You can follow us at our handles at the bottom. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Hit that like button, subscribe. Help us grow the channel, man. It's a nice spot to hit, just chill and talk Bears football after each game every week. So we would appreciate that if y'all would, help us grow the channel. Look, y'all have a good rest of y'all night. We out of here. See y'all next week. Peace.